Right. So, in random flight ticket booking script, right? So what we did with respect to departure and arrival city. So where did we did, correlate them in step number 84, right? Once we click on flights button, we'll get the departure and
Stop.
arrival city drop down, right? So, and this
Yes.
is where we have randomized this. We have selected randomly. We made match number as 0, right? To pick randomly. If you want to select first city, you give 1. If you want to select second city, you give 2, and so on, isn't it? Right? If you use random, if you use 0, it will pick randomly, right? So what if I want to select all the cities into a drop down, from a drop down? Say for example, like I want to capture all cities into something, right? In load runner we used ordinal is equal to please wait, those who completed load runner, I want answer from them. Mahendra, I want to select all the hold on, let me log into the application. Okay, I want to select all the cities into a all the cities in the drop down into some variable, right? So how can I do that in load runner, Mahendra?
Ordinal is equal to all.
Right, by using ordinal is equal to all, right? So, and now in JMeter, how to do that? JMeter also there should be some way, right? So, see guys, those who completed load runner, I expect you to ask some questions like this, right? You already did some script in load runner, right? So you should ask, the relevant option in JMeter, yes or no? Guys, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right. So in JMeter, like, if you want to capture all the values, right? In load runner, you use ordinal is equal to all, right? In JMeter, you use -1 here. Simply use -1, right? So it will capture all the elements into a variable. Okay. So fine. So I want only random arrival city, one city here. That's why I gave 0. That is fine. Now we have to handle this condition, right? If sometimes as random function, as we are using random function, right? So basically, when we use this, match number as 0, JMeter will use random function, right? And when we use this random, right, match number 0 for random, there is a chance that both the cities will be same, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right? There is every possibility that the same city may get selected for both departure and arrival. And now let's see how to handle that, right? So we have to handle that condition. So that's what this error handling refers to, right? Now let's see, like, how to handle this condition. Guys, you have to remember all these steps, guys, and you should be in a stage that you have to explain each of them. Okay. Right, now let's see how to handle that, right? So fine, so we captured, this regular expression extractor captures some random city from the drop down and stores it into this JMeter variable, right? JMeter variable, these are called as JMeter variables. Why are those called as JMeter variables?
Changes every time.
Right, because their value changes every time. They don't have a fixed value, right? So now we have to compare these two cities, right? I will for that I will use if controller, right? So let me show you. Add logic controller, if controller. The first and foremost controller is if controller, you can see here, right? So in interviews they will ask you what are the different types of controllers you used. Okay, so you should be in a stage to explain at least 4 or 5. Okay, you cannot say that I used only transaction controller. No, we will use when you worked in some project, right? So you definitely use 4 to 5 controllers. Minimum 4 to 5 controllers you will use, right? So the first controller, of course, that transaction controller we already used, and let's see how to use this if controller. So I am selecting this if controller and it got added here. Now, where do we want to check this condition? First, we will check the condition. We'll check if both cities are same. Let me write the pseudo code first. If they ask you to write, like the code for that, right? See what we have to do here. If yes, random departure
Arrival
city
is
is
equal
equal
to
to
arrival,
random,
arrival city.
right? Then what we have to do?
Then
We can handle this in multiple ways actually, right? So what we can do is we can repeat that step one more time. This step, right? Which step? Where are we selecting? Where are we selecting the departure and arrival city? Request number 84, isn't it? So we can
yes,
repeat that step one more time, or we can exit that iteration. Okay, we can make the script in such a way that if both cities are same, we will exit that iteration simply and continue with the next iteration. That also we can do. Okay, or we can use while controller also. So for today, I'm going to use if controller. I'm going to use this if controller, and I want to show you how to use if controller, right? So where shall we put this? Like what we will do is, so if both cities are same, right? Then what we will do is,
exit.
we will repeat that step. Repeat, repeat the request where we are selecting, departure and arrival city. Is it understood? Understood or no? This is one way to do this case. Okay. If departure city is equal to arrival city, we will repeat the request where we are selecting departure and arrival city randomly. Isn't it? Yes.
If both are equal to Denver and Denver, we will repeat the step until unless Denver is equal to Paris. I'm right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, not Denver is equal to Paris. Okay. So departure and arrival city are different until we.
Yeah. Denver is equal to Denver.
Yeah. Right. So now so where should I keep that step base? I'll drag it to this, once I get the cities, right? Once I get this, departure and arrival city, once this request is completed, right? Then I need this if controller, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
And now
teacher.
let's see how to do this. Okay. So, copy that, copy those variables and, write like this, double quotes, put it in double quotes and curly brace. Okay, is equal to, okay, double equal to, you have to use double equal to. If you want to use equals to, if you want to use not equal to, you have to give like this, you have to give like this. This is not equal to. Okay, this is equals to. Okay, let me write it here, otherwise this is equals to. Okay, and this is not equal to. Okay. Now, so what we have to do is both the cities are same. First, let me write that.
ఎప్పుడు నేనే తాగుతా ఎప్పుడు నువ్వు కాబట్టి
Yes, I am. There is some background noise. I muted everyone. So if you want to speak, you can unmute. Okay. Right. Then we have to put dollar symbol. Hold on 1 second, please.
Sure, you won't write if condition. If
What is that?
if you won't write in that expression, no need.
No, not required. Not required. As
Okay.
this is the if controller, that is not required. We just
Okay.
need to pass the variables, right? This is how we pass in JMeter. This is how we pass the variables, right? Please remember that, you have to use double quotes, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay. And this is not equal to what we are checking here is like, we are checking if both the cities are not equal, then proceed with the next steps. What are the next steps? Select, what are the next steps? So in the next step, we select, so we will, we
Select
continue,
date,
right? Hold on.
everything.
Yeah, we change the date and, we'll do that, right? So, once we select the cities, like, if you want to change any of these values, number of passengers, or, if you want to change the date, or if you want to change seating preference or type of seat, we'll do that. And otherwise we'll simply click on continue, right? So that's what it does here. If both are not same, right? And one more thing is uncheck this one, interpret condition as variable expression, uncheck this one. And now let me repeat, now let me show you the script structure, right? So what happens here in this step, we are selecting departure and arrival city randomly, right? So what does this if controller do? It will check if they are not equal. If they are not equal, then only it will proceed with these steps. Then only the control enters this loop and it will execute these statements. Otherwise, it will simply log out. If they are same, it will simply log out of that iteration, right? So this is one way
Okay.
to do this, right? Let me let's run this. Let's replay the script and see, right? So to replay the script, right? We have to wait, till they both are same, isn't it? Okay, we'll replay the script and see what happens. Okay. Okay, I think I have kept random thing time. What I will do is, I will replace this.
Disable.
What is that?
I'm telling to disable. That's it.
Yeah. File name must be null or empty. Can you tell me what is the reason for this issue? On seeing the error message, can you tell me what is the issue? Script is not getting replayed. See, if you observe here, it stopped replay and it has thrown some error. Okay, or else, let me clear everything and let me show you. See, now there are no errors, right? So you see 0, right? There are no errors. If I replay the script, right, there is some error here, right? So it shows like there is some error, and this is the error message in the log file, JMeter log file. Now what is that? No, see this log viewer panel. This is called as log viewer panel. And what is the reason for this issue? If you see this error message, file name must not be null or empty. What is the reason for that? Guys,
File name box is empty, sir.
so I added a CSV dataset in config element, but did not configure any file. Okay, but I did not configure any file. By the way, did I pass this, username, password? Hold on 1 second, please. I pass this username and password.
No.
No, we have hard-coded values. That is fine. So we'll continue with the hard-code values because I did not create a file actually. You understood, right? If you see this error message, immediately you have to look into the CSV dataset config, whether any file is configured or not, isn't it? Right. So for now, I will disable this element, right, and I will replay the script again. I'll clear the log, right, and I will replay the script again. Let me close this control panel. Okay. Or hold on. So let me, disable these timers for the time being. All right. What happened here? So after click flights button, immediately logout is executed. Okay, let's see the debug sampler. What it got for, see here. It got Seattle and Seattle, right? The very first time we ran the script, right? Even though it is random, it's random here, right? See, this is random here. I selected 0 for random. So the very first time we replay the script, that condition is passed, right? So so both are same. That's why it did not enter into this if controller, isn't it? And it directly executed that logout step. That's why you can see here, once it clicks right button, right? Right. So it has it executed logout because
Logout.
both are same. It did not enter that that thing. Okay. It did not enter the request under the if controller. Right. Let me replay one more time. Okay. Let me clear this. Okay. Now what happens? See here now. See the
Not
debug.
equal to.
Let's see the debug sampler. So see here, departure arrival city is Paris and departure city is Seattle. That's why it. So they are not equal to, right? If controller it returned true. What does it return? It returns true, right? So whatever it is. So this condition became true, not equal to became true because they are not equal. That's why it executed all the requests under that, right? It went to, it executed the next steps 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it logged out. Right? Let's see like if a ticket is booked or not. Right? So Seattle to Paris. Here you can see, right? A ticket is booked from Seattle to Paris. Right? Yes, I have hard-coded values now. Okay, so I'm using like Jojo Bean only, right? So you can see I logged in with the same user, Jojo. Right, so here you can see, and you can also verify that you can also verify that a ticket is booked from Seattle to Paris, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. So this is one way to do this. Okay. The other way is if they both are same if you want to use double equal to, right? What should we do if both are same? The other way to do that is you can repeat this step. Which step? Repeat the step where we are selecting departure and arrival city. Okay. That is the other way to do that, right? So this is nothing but error handling, right? This is what we call error handling, and like very important for interviews. Okay. Have you ever done error? So basically they will ask like what are the steps in script enhancement, right? So in JMeter, these are the script enhancements: correlation, parameterization, timers, and pacing, and response assertion or page validation or text check. So in JMeter, this is JMeter specific term. That's why I have highlighted this, right? Page validation, text check are general terms. Okay, for any tool, these are general terms for any tool, right? For page validation only, we will be using response assertion in JMeter, isn't it?
Yes.
Right, and the last one is error handling. So to handle such conditions, right? That is error handling. So shall we? You want me to show the other way? The other way to do this is I will do one thing. I will rename this. I will save the script with some other name. Okay, random flight ticket booking if controller 2. I'll name it as if controller 2. And I'll show you the other way to do this, right? So here what I'm going to do is is this clear? First of all, the previous script, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Is this clear for everyone? How if controller is used? So definitely in scripting, see here also we just need to remember that we should pass double quotes. We should pass those variables in double quotes. Let me show you if we don't give double quotes. See, let me show you what happens. What is the error message that you can see, that you will see, so that if you forget or San Francisco, see, observe here. If see departure city is San Francisco, arrival city is London, right? Both are not same. Still it executed logout, because because of not giving this double quotes here. Okay. It did not work properly because of missing double quotes here, because of not giving double quotes here. Okay. Guys.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes,
Yes,
you know, like we forget or we miss to give these, you know, double quotes. That's why I'm showing you what happens, right? And, you know, let me replay the script one more time now, right? So I gave double quotes and, you know, condition properly, it should work clearly. It should work correctly, right? Now you can see, like, you know, what are the departure and arrival city? Departure city is Los Angeles, arrival city is Seattle, right? Let's check whether a ticket is booked or not. From Los Angeles to Seattle, you can see that a ticket is booked now, right? And, you know, one more thing. Suppose, you know, you want to verify this condition, right? You want to verify this condition. Suppose, you know, see, fortunately for us, luckily, the first time we replaced the script, you know, the condition became true. I mean, we got both departure and arrival city same, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? So if you don't want to, you know, sometimes what happens is even if you run the script for 10 times, 20 times also, they may not be same, right? In that case, what you can do, how can you forcefully make them true? How can you forcefully make departure and arrival city as same? ఈ కండిషన్ మీకు ట్రూ చేయాలి. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు యు నో వెరిఫై వెదర్
equal to. No.
equal to, if you keep equal to, you know, if they are not equal, that condition will not become true, right?
Yeah.
So unless until they are same, that condition will not become true, right?
Then we
So
have
what
to
is-
change the template I value to 1, both us.
What is this template? What is this template value?
No, template, not template.
This is group
Give
number.
match
This is
number.
group number.
Yeah.
We have to make same match number. Match number 1, రెండిటికి 1 పెట్టారు అనుకోండి, then, you know, it will take Denver only, right? Yes or no? Let me replay the script and show you. See the debug sampler. See, I gave match number as, you know, 1, right? So that both, you know, departure and arrival city key, both they will become Denver only, right? And you can see here the result. Now, you know, we can also see that, you know, it did not enter the diff controller because, you know, both are same, isn't it? So to verify the condition, you know, this is a shortcut to verify the condition. You can give either match number 1 or 2 for both the cities. You have to give same value, right? Now what will be the city now if I give match number as 2? If you give match number as 2, what is the city? What is the city that Frankfurt, right? The city will be, that is Frankfurt. Let me show you that quickly. See here, departure city is Frankfurt, arrival city is Frankfurt, obviously, because we gave match number as 2, right? You understood, right? What is match number? Match number means, you know, we gave some regular expression here. We gave some regular expression here, and, you know, we are giving the second match, right? Match number 2 means the second city where this regular expression matches. Or if you give boundary extractor, the second city where the left and right boundary matches, right? That's what it is. That's how it works, right? Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? So to verify this, you know, to verify if controller or while controller or, you know, anything, right? So we can, you know, play around with this like this by, you know, changing the match number, right? Now I'll revert back to 0. We want to select randomly. That's why I'm reverting back to 0. Okay. You want to select randomly, cities randomly, isn't it? That's why I'm reverting back to 0. Okay, now we know what are the cities now. Denver and San Francisco. Go to the application and verify. Okay, actually you have to verify this Denver to San Francisco. So you have to, you know, replay the script for 4 to 5 iterations, and, you know, and you have to verify that. And also once you made parameterization also, you have to replay the script for 4 to 5 times. You have to verify at least for 4 to 5 times. Okay. Let me, you know, now let me change this. Where is the sorry? Yeah, let me parameterize this. Right? So how to parameterize this, guys? Add a CSV dataset config element and then give the username variable and password here. Add a file. Let me add a file first. Credentials file. Hold on. So let me go to that path. So this is random flight ticket booking. Right? Okay. I already have a file. Let me show you the file contents of test one, password one. Okay. Let me select this. Okay. Before that, let me put some more values. Okay. So we have to verify the script for at least 4 to 5 iterations, isn't it? Password 2. I have to verify whether these users are registered or not. Perf test 1, 2, and so on. First, let me verify that. CGI bin users, right? Verify whether perf test 1, perf test 2 are there or not, right? Yeah. So you can see perf test 1, 2, 3, and so on are already registered. Now let me, I want to replay the script for 4 to 5 iterations, right? So I will remove this. See, and one more question I got from you people is one of you is Srinivas, I think, right? In the last session, he asked me whether we can make these also parameterize, right? Whether we can parameterize first name, last name, address also, right? To
Yes.
explain that, I have kept these values. Yes, you can give any number of values into the same file. The only thing is like they should be separated by a comma, right? They should be separated by a comma, right? So to show that I have kept these values, I'm removing this, I don't want to parameterize all those, right? In this case, I don't want to parameterize, okay? Not required as this is a sample application, but generally like, in real time, you may need to parameterize, okay? More values.
Okay, sir.
Test 5, password 5, right? Now I will, save this file. And what I will do is I will perf test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Now, I will configure that file. You can browse and configure the file and then file encoding, select file encoding as UTF-8. And, I gave only, username and password in the parameter file. I am removing this. Now what I have to do, I have to replace the hard-coded values with these parameters, right? With these variable names. Variable names are parameters, right? So where are they getting passed? Here it is, right? I have to replace this Jojo, right? Control C, Control F. I have to replace that with the username, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Search all, right? And replace all, right? Next one. What is the next one? Password. Let's parameterize the password also. So Control C, Control F, Control V. I want to replace that with which variable? This one, the password.
Key password.
Do replace all directly. Okay. Right. Now save the script and just verify whether replaced or not. Okay. Now like we can put Jojo bin also into the file, because we have that is a default user, right? So you can let's put that also. That user ID also, right? Now let me save this file and let me replay the script for multiple iterations. We have to verify for at least 5 iterations, guys. Okay. Sometimes what happens is your script may work for 1 iteration, but it may not work for multiple iterations. As I have 6 values, I'll use number of users, number of users or threads as 6, or else hold on. So I'll give loop count as 6. Okay, I have 6 values. So it will obviously it will replay the script with multiple values. Okay, I mean different credentials, isn't it? if I give loop count as 6, right? So it will take, in each iteration, it will take a different value. Okay, because if you observe this, CSV dataset config, right? CSV dataset config, right? So recycle on end of file true. Yeah, I'll come to this properties later on. Please wait. Let me replay the script and show you. Let me clear this log. And like I gave loop count as 6, means the script will be replayed for 6 iterations now, right? Let me show you that quickly. I removed the think time so that script will replay faster. One iteration completed, second iteration started, you can see. And observe here, this scroll bar, right? If you want to make use of scroll bar, use this scroll automatically. Now see here, this scroll bar comes down automatically if you select this one. Understood? Guys. And one more thing, let us verify, how JMeter took the credentials. Go to the debug sampler here, you can see, right? You can see here, in the first iteration, it took P username as Jojo, second iteration, it took Bean, right? It took the first value. Let's see the second iteration, of test 1, password 1, right? And next iteration, of test 2, password 2. Next iteration, perf test 3, password 3, right? And next iteration, perf test 4, password 4. Next iteration, perf test 5, password 5, right? Okay, so there are 6 credentials. Okay, that's why I guess.
But in this code and the above debug sampler, the arrival city and departure city is selected the same. Portland.
That's why it logged out. It did not go to the ticket booking steps.
Okay.
It did not go to the ticket booking steps here. Okay, because both are same. And here, right? Both are same. That's why it logged out. And it logged out and proceeded with the next iteration.
Okay.
Right? Now, one more thing. Suppose, if you want to run the script for 10 iterations, I gave only 6 user IDs in the file. Okay. And I want to run for 10 iterations. Will the script work now?
Yeah. Once the 6th one is completed, it should come with this first one again as a 7th run.
Right. That happens only when, see, observe here, by default, recycle on EOF. Any guess what is EOF?
End of file.
End of file. If you put the cursor there, see, you see a tool tip. Okay. See on put your cursor over there. Okay. Right. So recycle on end of file is true by default. Okay. So what happens is, like it will, once all the 6 user IDs are completed, it will take, it will again start there are 4 more iterations left, right? Or else, so it will start from the beginning again. It should start from the beginning again. So let's see, whether it works or not, right? I gave, loop count as 10, right? So let's verify that. Okay. Once all the user IDs are completed, it should take, go to the beginning. It should take from Jojo again. Okay. See, let's see what is the 10th iteration. See, observe here. Perf test 3, password 3. Right? 10th iteration. What does that mean? After 6 iterations are completed, again, it started from the beginning. 7th iteration, 8th iteration, 9th iteration, and 10th iteration. 10th iteration, the credentials that the script picked up is perf test 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
The last iteration. So you got it right, because by default, right, for CSV dataset config, by default, recycle on end of file will be true, right? That's why, recycle on end of file means that CSV file. Once it reaches end of the file, it will recycle. Recycle means it will go to the beginning. It will start taking from the beginning. If you make this false, right, by default, that is true. Okay. If you make it false, right, you see the next value, stop thread on end of file. Stop thread of end of file. So if you have to make this as true, you can make this as true. Means recycle false session. We made the recycle option as false. Right? That's why, it makes sense to stop this. Stop thread and end of file true. Right? Let's see how this works now. Okay. So what happens now? what should happen now? How many iterations will the script run now? Okay. Seems like it is running for 10 iterations.
Yes, sir.
Running for 10 iterations. Let's see what value it picks. Perf test 3, password 3. Come on. Recycle on it. Oh, sorry. This is not changed actually. This. Okay, this is not saved. Recycle on end of file false if you make it false, right? So let me do one more thing. So at the end of the day, we want to see the response times of each step, right? We want to see the response time of each page, right? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
See, when we are doing performance testing, fine, we did a script and we are able to automate that, right? Automate that random flight ticket booking. At the end of the day, we want to see the response time of the page, right? That is the ultimate objective, right? See, we want to see the response times. We want to find out if there are any performance issues, and we have to identify what is the performance issue, what is the root cause of that issue, and we have to fix it, right? So to see the response times, right, you have to add an element called, right? So go to add, and add an element called, config element. Sorry, listener. Listener. We have to use a listener called, we have to use there are some listeners. You can use some listeners called, summary report or aggregate report. Okay. So observe here, when I add this summary report, right? See what are the columns that it contain? Average, min, match, standard deviation, error percentage, throughput, and so on. Right? So this gives your average response time, right? And minimum response time, max response time, and so on, isn't it? So let's see, or else we can use another listener called, aggregate report also. There is a small difference between the summary report and aggregate report. We will see that, how it, we'll see, the difference between them. I'm making just loop count as one temporarily. I want to explain, summary report and aggregate report. Okay. Now let me replay the script. Let me clear the log. Okay. So one iteration is completed. Now let's see the summary report. What does it show here? What is the label? Label means nothing but, your transaction name, right? Isn't it? See, what do you see under label? You see the transaction
Names.
Right? So, if they are not in order, right, click on that column, okay, to sort them. Now you can see they are in order, right? And now samples number, see, hash represents number of, right? So hash samples means number of samples. How many number of samples means? Samples means, index page is executed one time, login page is executed one time, and so on. This is nothing but, how many times each transaction is executed, right? We ran for one iteration only. That's why you are seeing one here. Okay. And,
Okay,
next comes, average, okay, hold on. So did I check this? Yeah. Okay, this is debug sampler. Debug sampler, you are seeing 0. Yeah, that is expected, right? And you see this, average response time. See here, index page average response time is 226 milliseconds. But remember that, JMeter gives response times in milliseconds by default. It gives in milliseconds. Okay. And these are the response times of each page. Index page is taking 226, login is taking 436, and so on, right? See, you can see this, itinerary page took more time, 431, because there are some tickets, right? There are some tickets already available, right? So that page is taking more time to load, right? Able to follow, guys? There are 13 tickets in this page. That's why it took some time. I'm canceling that. Next time in the next iteration, this page will be faster. Okay, remember this. Itinerary page took 431 milliseconds. Okay, login took 436. In most of the applications, login will take some time because it has to validate the credentials and all, right? And like itinerary page, one more page took 431 milliseconds, right? And you can see what are these columns: average, min, max, response times, and standard deviation. We'll discuss what is the standard deviation and what is the importance of standard deviation in performance testing. In performance testing, standard deviation is important. Do you remember standard deviation? ఎప్పుడు చదివినట్టుందా?
Statistics.
Right. Yeah, in 10th class or 8th class, you might have come across that. And in degree, if you are from SMP background, statistics, maths, physics, right? So you'll 3 years, you'll in the degree, 3 years of degree, like you'll get this term, standard deviation. Okay, I am from SMP background. I did SMP in BSc, so so standard deviation, I remember very well what is standard deviation, right? And error percentage, throughput, received kilobytes per second, sent kilobytes, and average bytes. So the important columns are these: number of samples, average, min, max, and standard deviation, error percentage. Okay, these are the important columns. Now let's see the aggregate report. What are there? What is the difference between summary report and aggregate report, right? So in aggregate report, there is one more column called median. This is one difference. Summary report lo we don't have median, right? But in aggregate report, you have this median. What is this median? Do you remember this median, anyone?
Middle value.
Middle value.
Yeah, middle value out of a set of values. Okay. So if you want, to refer to these, median and, standard deviation, I mentioned it in these slides. Okay. So go to these slides, mean, median, standard deviation. I covered this over here. Mean is nothing but simple average of all response time values, right? This is what, this is average. This is also called as mean, right? And median is middle value in a set of numbers, right? So here we have only one value, of course, 226. We have only one value for, each transaction, because we ran the script for only one iteration, right? That's why average and median will be same, right? Guys, able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
And max and minimum also will be same, isn't it? Because we have only one value, right? So minimum and maximum values also will be same as average response time, right? But next time I will run for 5 iterations, then you will see the difference. Okay, first understand what are these columns, right? So this is number of samples, average, min, max, and apart from that, you have in aggregate report, you have median, 90th percentile line, 90th percentile, 95th percentile, 90th, 99th percentile. Very important for performance testing. What is 90th percentile, or what is 99th percentile, or what is 95th percentile, right? So what is that percentile concept, first of all? Okay, so here it is. 90th percentile means 90% of the values fall below this value. 90% of, okay, we'll discuss this percentile concept next. Let me complete this. So first let us understand that aggregate report has few more gives few more details like median and percentiles. Here those who are taking running notes, you can note it down. What is the difference between summary report and aggregate report? Okay, please note it down. Very important interview question.
Okay.
Let me I think we are writing the interview questions into some document, right? Let me open that document. I think we already started JMeter interview questions, right? Where is it? Got it. Right? So this is the important interview question. And what is the answer for that? Summary report gives number of samples, average, min, max, standard deviation, error percentage, throughput. Of course, it gives few more, but these are the important values that we will look into, right? Whereas aggregate reports give some additional information like median, percentile values. Again, in percentile values, it gives 90th percentile. Guys, remember that you have to pronounce that as percentile, not percentage. Okay, there is a difference between percentile and percentage. Okay, you should pronounce it as percentile. Don't, get confused, with the symbol. Okay. So you should pronounce that as percentile. All right. Now let's go to this, now let's replay the script for, like multiple iterations. Okay. I'll make loop count as 5. And, because I want to, you understand, right? I want you to understand, what is this, how does this average min max and all work? Did you remember, itinerary page is taking more time, right? It took 431 milliseconds. Now let's see. I have deleted all the tickets, okay, in the itinerary page. Let's see if there is any difference. Let's see if that is faster. Okay. Cleared this and, and I'm replaying the script for 5 iterations. And let's see the, like that page. Okay. See here. Itinerary page took 419 now, right? Previously it was 431, isn't it? Guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? And if you observe the summary report and aggregate report value, see here number of samples is 5 because we ran the script for 5 iterations.
5
isn't
iterations.
it? And departure arrival city, only one time only 4 times it happened. The transaction is executed only 4 times. Why? What could be the reason?
Maybe arrival and departure cities are same.
Exactly. Arrival departure cities are same in one iteration. That's why, it did not execute those iterations. Isn't it? And, now see the average min max. Let us understand this average min max, right? So you see index page average response time is 273 milliseconds. Minimum is 252. What does that mean? And maximum is 286. What does that mean?
252 milliseconds minimum.
Right. So out of these 5 values, right, we executed script for 5 iterations. This index page is executed for 5 iterations, right? Out of these 5 values, minimum response time that we got is 252. Max response time is 286. As simple as that. If 5 values low, minimum value 252 seconds, maximum value is 286. And the average of all the 5 values is 273.
273.
As simple as that case, right? So, isn't it? You see a difference now. See, previously, when I run for 1 iteration, there is no difference, obviously, because only one you have only 1 sample, so average min max will be same. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, but now, as we run for, replayed the script for 5 iterations, you can see a difference, right? Minimum response time is 252, maximum response time is 286, and this average is nothing but average of 5 values, right? Is 273. And, error percentage is 0. You have to keep an eye on this error percentage. If there are some issues, right, you will see that, it will fail for, the error percentage, you see some value at that time, right? And one more thing. So standard deviation, observe here, 11.46 is the standard deviation, right? For index page, right? Other than that, all values are less only, right? Okay. We'll discuss this, what is standard deviation in some other session. And let's go to the average report. Average report, if you see, this is important. 90th percentile, 95th, 99th percentile is important. So I will explain this and then we will stop for today. Percentile thing, right? I think I did not clear this, I did not do clear all. Okay, that's why you are seeing difference. See here in summary report, number of iterations are 5 max, minimum 4. Here it is 6 because, I did not do clear all. Okay, if you do clear all, your number of samples you should see the same for both summary report and aggregate report, isn't it? Let me replay one more time. Right, doesn't take much time, right? Yeah, now all the iterations are completed, and this is enabled, right? That means test is completed, isn't it? Now, if you see the aggregate report, right, you have these 90th percentile, 95th and 99th percentile, apart from average min max and error percentage and throughput, right? And let us understand this one also, received kilobyte and send kilobyte. Sent kilobyte is nothing but request, right? Sent kilobytes means request, received kilobyte means response. That's it. Okay. Easy to remember, right? If you
Yes.
understand the
Yes, sir.
concepts, it is easy. Sent kilobytes is nothing but your request. Okay. Request size. Request, this is kilobytes per second. This is throughput value actually. Okay. Throughput is nothing but byte sent plus byte received, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And sent kilobytes is nothing but your request size, and received kilobytes means this is the
Response.
response, right? And what else? Yeah, coming to percentile. Okay, let us understand this percentile. What is this percentile? This is important in performance testing. Very important interview question. Like, what is do you consider average response times are? So we have two things here. Okay, coming to the page responses, right? We have two things. One is average response time. We will not consider minimum and maximum, but we will consider average response time. Okay, so or we will consider these percentile values, 90th percentile value or something, right? Okay, which one is important or which one is important and why? Okay, so let me explain that. So first let us understand, what is percentile. Let me go back to the slides, right? Let's understand what is percentile. Okay, first let me explain, why is percentile important in performance testing. Okay, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, suppose you have, the response time values are like this. Say, for example, you have 10 response times and the values are like this 1, 3, 5, 9, 7, 4, and so on, right? I have 10 values, isn't it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So you have 10 values over here. Okay, or else, let me take Excel to explain this. Okay, I'll take one Excel to explain this. So suppose these are response times in each iteration. Response times. Okay, and let's assume that you got the response time of a page like this. First iteration you got 3 seconds, second iteration you got 1 second, third iteration you got some 4 seconds, fifth iteration you got 5 seconds. I'm just taking some examples, some numbers. Okay, no, so it can be 5.5 or 6.5 or 4.5 like that. Right? To make it simple, I will take some whole numbers. Right? Again 1. Next iteration you got 1. So I'll take 10 values like this. Right? 9. And in the third, in the 9th iteration, let's assume that the response time is very high and you got some 29. Response time is 29. Okay. And if you okay, these are 9 values only because in the first column I have one more. So last iteration you got 2 seconds. Let's assume that your response times are like this. Is it clear?
Yes.
And if you take the average response time, right? How is average calculated, guys? Average of all these values, right? That is also called as mean. MEAN, mean, right? Mean is nothing but simple average of all response times. Okay. So in normal technology we call that as mean, average, right? Average response time, right? Now what is the average response time? 6.45, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? Suppose suppose there is one value, there is some issue in the application, and the response time of this transaction is 100. Now what happens to your average? If one value is more, right? What happens to your average?
Increases.
Obviously it will increase, right? Now see, I applied the formula. I clicked on the cell and you can see that response time increased from 6.45 to 16.35, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
So just one value is impacting the whole response time. Yes or no? Out of
Yes.
10 values,
Yes.
just because one value is high, your average is going up. But if you observe the other values, it is nowhere as double digit also. Okay, here it is, one value is there. So it is not close to 100 anywhere. Okay, except one value. So that's why what we will do is so average, this is how average is calculated. It will consider all the values, right? This is how this average value will be calculated. it will calculate, it will simply calculate the average of all the values, right? But the problem with average is, if there is just one value also out of 10 values, if one value is also high, your average will be impacted. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right? Now for that, like what we do is, see, because now we cannot say that the average response time is 16.35, because all the remaining values, right, they are not in the double digit, they are in single digit. Okay, let's take this also 8. Okay, still you see for response time is 14 seconds. Just because one high response time, your average is impacted badly, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
Now what we do, we call these as outliers. We call these as extreme values or outliers. Okay, let me type in here. Okay, these are called as outliers. Means are extreme values. Okay, extreme high value. Right? Right? Now we know, like but 90% of the time, see, we out of this 10 values, see, these are 10 values, guys. Okay, you can see the count here. Right? So out of these 10 values, 90% except this one value, all other values are, good. Let's say assume that, all other values are good in single digit only, right? So we can ignore this one value. Okay, maybe because of some issue, that value is high, right? So, how percentile is calculated is, percentile will, suppose if you say that, 90th percentile. Okay, I'll type it as 9 percentile, because you may get confused with percentage and percentile, right? So how this 90th percentile value will be calculated is, out of 10 values, 9 values only will be considered, and this extreme value will be ignored when you are calculating, when the tool is calculating 90th percentile, right? Out of every 10 values, the outliers will be ignored, the extreme values will be ignored, and now your percentile will become 90th percentile will become 9 seconds, right? So first they will be sorted in ascending order, and the extreme value will be ignored, which is nothing but 100, and the highest value is 9 here. In the remaining values, the highest value is 9, right? So this is how 90th percentile value will be 9 now. Okay, what does that mean? All the values are below, equal to, or all the response times are below that, fall below that value, right? Yes or no? All the remaining
Yes.
response times are less than this 9, right? Okay,
Sir.
let me do one thing, to avoid confusion, because 90th percentile, so I'll make this value as 6. Now what will be your 90th percentile, if you understand concept correctly? Yes, what is your 90th percentile? 8. Now if you observe here, all the remaining values are less than that 8, right? Less than that 8, right? That's what this percentile, that's how this percentile means and how it is calculated. 90th percentile means 90% of the response time values fall below this value, will be below this value. Now, see, which is realistic now? So, should we consider the average response time or 90th percentile?
91.
See, just because one value, the response time is increasing drastically. Suppose this response time is some 300, average will be more, furthermore, isn't it? So we did not, we can ignore that one value out of 10 values, we can ignore the extreme value, right? Because if you see, all the response times are, less than 8 only, but, average shows as 34, whereas 90th percentile is 8, right? That's why, we need to consider this 90th percentile, but not average response time. Okay. Very important in performance testing, guys. Okay. Is it clear or any queries?
Yes.
Right. So in the same way, out of 100 values, if you consider 95th percentile line, right? What happens if there are 100 values? 5 values will be ignored, and the remaining 95 values will be considered for percentile calculation. So as simple as that. So if you say 90th percentile, out of 10 values, 9 values will be considered, right? Or, let's take 100. If you take 100 values, 90 values will be considered and the extreme high 10 values will be ignored. That is how 90th percentile will come. If you take, 95th percentile, how does it come? Out of every 100 values, 95 values only will be considered. 5 extreme values will be ignored, right? So this is how these percentile values will be calculated by the tool, right? We need not calculate. Any tool like LoadRunner or JMeter or NeoLoad, they will calculate and give these values to you. Okay, you need not bother about that, right? This is about percentile. Okay, is it clear, guys? Very important concept for performance testing. Very important concept question for very important interview question as well. Okay, why should we consider 90th percentile and why not average response time? Shall we move to the next one, guys?
Yes, sir.
The next important metric that any tool gives is standard deviation. Okay, let us understand what is this standard deviation is, right? Or else I'll give you one thumb rule. If standard deviation is high, the application is not consistent. Okay, I'm making a statement that if standard deviation value is high, the application is not consistent. Okay, let me write it here. Standard deviation value is high, the application performance is not consistent. Okay, let me explain what does this mean. Okay, standard deviation value should be as small as possible. If you observe here, for index page standard deviation is high. Okay, that means the index page performance is not good. That's what I mean to say. It should be as small as possible. There should not be much standard deviation. Okay. Now let me explain what is the standard deviation. How it will be calculated. Okay. This is the formula for standard deviation. Okay. And I made one statement here. If our test is fairly consistent in load, standard deviation should be close to the average response time. Okay. Leave it. And this is the formula for standard deviation. You will not calculate, but in case if you are interested, right, this is the formula. This is how standard deviation is calculated. Now let me explain what is the standard deviation. Okay, so and when does the standard deviation, when the standard deviation will be high, right? Suppose you're up, let us take this index page. Okay, sometimes the minimum response time is 230, maximum response time is 280, right? There is a big difference between minimum and maximum here. If you observe, 30 milliseconds difference is there, isn't it, guys?
50.
50.
Sorry, 50. There is 50 milliseconds difference here, right?
Yes.
So here it is, 403, 424. Difference between minimum and maximum is less here. It's just 21. Right?
21.
Here it is 23, right? So, and eventually, that is the reason you are seeing the standard deviation value is high, right? All other values you don't have, that much, difference between minimum and maximum value, isn't it? Yes or no? Here it is only 12.
Yes, sir.
Difference between minimum and maximum is only 12. Here it is only 11, and so on, right? Whereas, if you observe this value, minimum response time is 230 and maximum response time is 280. Means this index page performance is not good, not consistent. Understood? Not consistent means not, sometimes it is, it is going up very high. Yes or no? That's why,
Yes, sir.
you can see standard deviation value is also high. Means the deviation is, from the average. What is the average response time? 266, right? So the deviation from the average is very high. That's why, standard deviation is high, right? So that's why, if your standard deviation is values are high, that means your application performance is not consistent, not good, not consistent. Sometimes it is giving, sometimes response times are good, sometimes they are, going abnormally high, right? So that is the importance of standard deviation. Standard deviation value should be less. It should not be high. It should be close to the average response time. It should be as close to the average response time. Okay. Is it clear, guys?
Yes.
So you understood what is consistent performance? Okay. For example, in BTech, you have 8 semesters, right? Suppose in first semester, like you first semester, you got some, some 70%. Assume that, first semester you got 70%. And in second semester, you got 90%. Very good. But in third semester, let's assume that, you got, 60%, right? You got 60%. In fourth semester, you got, let's assume that, you got, again, you got some, 95%, right? Means your performance is not consistent, isn't it? See, there is a high deviation here. Yes or no? Here, your, your score fell down to your CGPA. Assume that, your CGPA fell down to 6. Here it is 9.5, right? So your academic performance is not consistent. Yes or no? There is much deviation here.
Yes.
Suppose your average came around some 75 or 80, right? But minimum value, minimum score that you got is 60 and maximum is 95. So there is a high standard deviation. Means, you cannot say, you can't say like in next semester how much you get. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right? So in that case, we say that, your performance is not consistent, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you understood, right? What is the why standard deviation is important in performance testing? Guys, I'll stop it here. It's already 11. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll stop it here for today. So anything else that I missed over here? So number of samples I covered, average, min max, standard deviation, error percentage, throughput, and yeah, covered almost everything. And one more thing, there are different elements, for example, if you want to see, like, okay, that is a big topic again. So you'll see in the next session, we'll see, like, we'll run the script for 100 users or 50 users, and I want to explain you few more things. Okay, so I'll stop it here.
For each controller, you said that you will show for equal.
Yeah, we'll take in some other script. We will do that. Okay, we have few more scripts, right? We will do that in the other script.
Okay.
I'm stopping the recording.